Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for the masterclass with Pat Pattison. My name is Callan Moody. I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Affairs at Berklee. I'm joined tonight, obviously, by Pat and my colleague, Joe Dreesen, who's the Director of Alumni Affairs, mainly works with our alumni in New York, while I work with a lot of alumni in Nashville and Atlanta. Without further ado, Pat, if you're ready to go, first question, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Just to kind of get things started, can you talk to what you've been doing with your songwriting during this crazy time? I know Berklee, we moved remote in March, which seems like ages ago, not just a few months. But how has that affected your songwriting, your kind of how you've been managing your routine or technique or anything along those lines?
Well, it's been interesting. But I live up in New Hampshire with my wife Claire McLeod, and we have been staying safe. We're both teaching online. She teaches in the voice department, and it's been, I think, relatively relaxing in some ways. We're fairly rural, so we get out for walks. I just got off the golf course a little while ago, and this morning we took a nice little motorcycle ride. The oaks are still blossoming. The maples are already gone, but it was spectacular while they were here. So we've had we've had a time of it. Teaching online has been interesting, but I've been very happy with the results. Classes are going well, and the students seem to be engaged. So all that is working well. In terms of songwriting, not doing much of that. I've been writing a master's degree course for Berklee Online. Berklee Online is going to offer a songwriting master's, and also writing a production and master's course for Berklee NYC, and that's going to be going on, going up, I think, in a year. So it's been a busy time. Plus, I'm doing some consulting and stuff. So and I'm writing an article every issue for American Songwriter, which I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm managing to keep busy. But in terms of songwriting itself, you all would know a whole lot more about that than me. Well, because you all have been writing more songs. I've been spending my time teaching and writing about writing, which is kind of meta writing, I suppose. So I have to say it's really great to see a whole bunch of familiar faces. I'm thrilled to be doing this, and Callan, thank you for asking. And I'm really pleased that we have a really nice turnout. So what I wanted to do is just sort of open things up, and if there's such a thing as a conversation between 100 people, I guess we could probably try to do that. I think we may be testing the limits of Zoom, but I'm open to any questions. What's on your mind? What's hard for you? Where are you getting stuck? Just all sorts of what is on your mind kinds of questions having to do with songwriting, probably. But I'm here for however long that takes, and then after we finish our conversation, we'll move on into doing some songs. So here's my pitch. Any questions?
I have a question.
All right.
First off, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. So my name is
I
Cassandra.
like your song, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. It's so I wrote Silver Linings, which I wrote actually only a few weeks ago, and I'd been on a songwriting dry spell for probably about 5 or 6 years. So just to put it in kind of perspective, but my question, I guess, is being that a lot of people are home. I live in a small studio with my husband, so it's been difficult to carve out time to write songs because I find that I need a lot of alone time to do so. Do you find that there are, maybe in terms of the workflow of having to know like what works best for songwriters? Some people are collaborative, some people need more isolation. In a time during COVID, and maybe this is just more of an open-ended question, what do you recommend for songwriters that maybe need that personal alone time to be creative and write songs?
Well, I think that it's probably silly to, at any time, to say, all right, I've got 5 hours I don't know what to do with. So I think I'll write a song in this 5 hours that I don't know what to do with. Because you don't have 5 hours that you don't know what to do with. I mean, you have your binging on Netflix, of course, which is really important. So that because you aren't going to have the big block of time, I think the conclusion to draw from that is, well, then I won't bother writing. Or you could probably say something like, I've got 10 minutes I don't know what to do with. I'm going to just sit down, put pen to paper for 10 minutes, and there's this little exercise that I have my students do, which many of you are familiar with, called object writing, which is a 10-minute, usually in the morning, exercise where you just pick a you just pick an object like hand sanitizer, and that goes at the top of your page, and then you spend 10 minutes setting a timer, spend 10 minutes writing about hand sanitizer and staying as close to your senses as you possibly can. I call it sensual free association. You're staying close to your senses, but if I have to spend 10 minutes writing about hand sanitizer, I'm going to put a gun in my mouth. So what's going to happen is I'll start with hand sanitizer, slippery and cool on my hands, smells like gasoline, leaning over the motorcycle, watching, waiting for the tank to fill, wiping the bike down, and now feeling the wind in my hair. A leaf, kamikaze, tried to take me out at the same time that it fell. Diving into the swimming pool. The smell of chlorine. Swallowing a little bit of water and coughing, etc. So I just keep going and going and going for 10 minutes until the timer goes meh. And I can't wait until it's done with this meh. Well, I have to. The minute I hear it, I stop. I don't care if I'm in the middle of a word. You must stop. And I'm really always excited to go up and see where I started, because it's almost always a surprise after that little journey that I just took think the last place I was in a swimming pool, and I started with hand sanitizer. That's a way to give your writer a sharp elbow in the ribs in the morning, and your writer's eyes will be open, and you'll be seeing things all day long through your writer's eyes. And because you're seeing things all day long through your writer's eyes, you're going to want to start jotting some things down. And so, you know, that kind of alone time that you're craving is going to be alone time with, I mean, your husband may be in the room, but it's alone time maybe with your computer, or if you are analog with your pen and paper, where you just jot down an idea. And if you start jotting down ideas like that, I predict that you won't be able to go 4 years without writing anymore. I predict that you won't be able to go a week without writing anymore. I predict that you won't be able to go a day without writing anymore. So that it's really just a matter of starting your engine, and starting your engine every morning, letting it be a habit. You know, if you're somebody who walks in the morning, my wife walks every morning. She walks for 23 minutes every morning, leaves the house early, walks for 23 minutes. It's part of her routine. My routine is to sleep while she's doing that. Then I take my walk a little bit later. But it just becomes something that you just do. And if object writing is something that is in your bloodstream, which it is in many of my former students' bloodstreams, it will serve you well. I don't know how many of you remember Gillian Welch or know Gillian Welch's work, but I'm quite sure this morning in Nashville, when she woke up, I'm quite sure she did her object writing. She does it every day, and she's what? I think 9 or 10 or 11 Grammy nominations and 3 or 4 Grammys in her career, and sells out everywhere she and Dave play. And she said in one of my Nashville trips, when she and Dave were appearing to the students, one of the students asked her what she still uses that she took from Berklee. She said, "Oh, that's easy. Number 1, ear training." Said the more successful you get, the more you need it. Number 2, object writing. I wouldn't have a career without it. So that's something, whatever it is that you do. And some people like to do morning pages. You know, I personally don't think that you can waste your time writing. I don't think any time writing is wasted time. But I do think that journaling, which is what morning pages really is, isn't really efficient for songwriters, because one of your most powerful tools as a songwriter is using your senses, is writing from your senses, because when an opening line is something like turn down the lights, turn down the bed, turn down these voices inside my head, almost everybody knows the color of the bedspread. But the color of the bedspread is the color of the bedspread that's in your imagination, so that Mike Reed and Alan Shamblin's words are full of your stuff, so that the song is about you. So that sense-bound writing becomes one of the strongest tools you have as a songwriter. Does that help, Cassandra?
Yeah, it does, because like you said, they're all different types of tools. So writing is one component. I tend to write songs even from melodies. So I used a lot of the melodies that I would sing in my kitchen while I was kind of by myself, and built upon the song. But like you said, it's like going to the gym. You're working out different strengths, and when they all come together, but making a habit out of it, and consistency is probably one of the hardest things to do. But yeah, that answers a lot of my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I just want to say that writing melodies is fun, but you're not going to get a song unless you got an idea. I like to say that, and this always pisses off my friends. Music means nothing. Music means nothing. Music only feels. Music feels. Words mean. So that your job as a songwriter is to put the feelings that music creates in a supportive relationship with the ideas, with the words that you create. So I would say it's really nice standing at the kitchen sink, thinking up melodies, but they're going nowhere without ideas, unless you're writing instrumental music. But we are not composers. We are not poets. We are songwriters. And our gig as songwriters is to put words and music together as effectively as we possibly can. So that means that you should be doing your 10-minute object writing exercises in the morning, because then you're dealing with meanings. And it sounds to me like melody comes easier to you. Well, of course it does, because it doesn't mean anything. I think I'll put this note next. Oh, good. How about this one? Oh, good. But it's a little harder when you're dealing with words.
That's a great point.
They have to make sense.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, what else?
Let's see. We have Tim. Oh,
Yeah, I'm Tim. Hey. First of all, yeah, again, thanks for doing this, Pat. My question would be around, very much related to what you were just talking about, sort of meaning. And one, it's a question in sort of two fragments. One is sort of being able to bring that emotion and feeling every time you refer back to the song. Because I know I've sort of written things and then 2 weeks later I say, what a hunk of garbage this is. I don't feel that way anymore. And then, you know, techniques or tips for offloading that onto the listener. And, you know, that Bonnie Raitt tune that you mentioned, ways of sort of giving the audience their own room to interpret the song and their own way to put themselves in that setting.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right that it is related to what we were just talking about, because you know, I do think that as a songwriter, you do have the responsibility to write something that makes you feel something. Because if you don't feel anything when you're about the song, then really, how can you expect somebody else to feel anything? Now, a couple of things here, but again, we're in the communications business, and our job is to make our listener feel something. And so, you know, whatever that might be. And so, again, in terms of making them feel something in response to an idea, something that you have to say, that you know, are in some way driven to say, hope that you can communicate this idea. That is, in songs where the lyric, where you give a shit about what you have to say. In those songs, I think sense-bound writing is really quite useful, because again, if I can stimulate your senses, if I can turn on your movie camera, then my words will be full of your stuff. So, you know, running barefoot down the beach, smelling the salt air, seagulls crying and circling overhead, the sound of the waves crashing against the rocks. Okay, now nobody here was actually at Northampton Beach in New Hampshire. I was, but everybody here was somewhere that they know, and everybody here was feeling the wet sand on your bare feet. Everybody here was smelling the salt air and hearing the seagulls and feeling them circle overhead. And wherever that was for you comes from you. That's so my words are full of your stuff. I made you feel something because I made you sense something. And you had some kinds of associations with it. If your if your memory of running down the beach was the day that your grandfather died, then that's the feeling that's going to be there. If the running down the beach was the day that you fell in love for the first time, then that's the feeling that'll be there. If running down the beach was after you robbed the corner store, that's the feeling that will be there. But whatever it is, you will be feeling something in response to those images. So in terms of creating feeling in your listener, that's a really effective tool. In terms of writing something and coming back 2 weeks later and saying, oh, that's shit, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for a couple of reasons. Number one, you have something to work on if you choose to. And if you don't feel that way in 2 weeks, if you've actually gotten back together and aren't so angry anymore, that's okay, because it's not about you, it's about the song, it's about the world of the song. But even if you hate it, I might confess to you that I used to hate my old songs, but then I realized that I wouldn't be the writer I am today without the rungs of the ladder that each one of those songs provided to take me to a different level. So if you're tired of hearing me talking now, and you want to go away, I'll say right now the most important thing that I'm going to say all night. And so this will be, for those of you who want a quick exit, that would be great. So if everybody would sort of adopt a kind of I'm in church position, kind of sit up straight and uncross your legs and don't lean on your elbows for this benediction. So is everybody ready? All right, good. I hereby grant you permission to write crap, because crap is the best fertilizer. And the more crap you write, the more likely it is you will grow something wonderful. Amen. So that song that you wrote 2 weeks ago and you hate, oh, that's crap. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, that's good. It beats the hell out of not writing a song for 4 years. Right. So if you're having trouble writing, I'm going to give you an assignment. And I want to say right up front that nobody that I've ever given this assignment to, and I've given it to a lot of people, nobody has ever successfully completed this assignment. So fair warning. The assignment is, I want you to write a crappy song every day for 14 days. I want you to write 14 bad songs in a row, one a day. You need to finish them. They have to be bad. And right around, usually song 7 or 8, somewhere around there. People make terrible mistakes and write a good song. I don't know how that happens. But if you just give yourself the permission to write a shitty song every day for 14 days, things will happen that you just can't imagine. All right. What else? We got 3 raised hands according to the participants.
Awesome. Caitlin, I think your hand's been up for a while. Do you still have a question?
Yeah, I like, based on what you just were talking about, it's kind of the opposite question from my perspective. I'm constantly puking out ideas. They don't stop. I have 50 notebooks sitting around me, and I'm sure that's pretty common with everybody. And so, and right now I just took a course that was really, really cool with Neil Dirks, who says hi. And we did all these collaborations, and we're all collaborating on lots of songs. And I wonder what your perspective is on working on lots of songs at once, having lots of notebooks open at once. And I literally write on any piece of paper that's around me. And sometimes I find stuff I wrote a year ago and I say, oh, that's really, oh, I like that. And I put it over to the other side of the equation. So I'm just curious about, how you organize a lot of ideas. And if you're working on, is there too many songs? Is there a line that you could notice and cross?
Well, I mean, what a great problem to have.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah. My advice would, no matter how many irons you have in the fire, I love fresh language. Finish them. Even if you're writing 5 songs at a time, you need to finish all 5 of them, and finish them to whatever level of excellence they deserve. 90% of everything you write is not your best 10%. I find that very comforting. 90% of everything you write is not your best 10%. It's true of Shakespeare. It's true of Sting. It's true of you. So the more 90% you have, the better your 10% gets. So what's happening with you is that you are constantly manipulating, you're constantly toning your muscles, and that's really great. I expect that because you were studying with Neil, who I adore, tell him hi back, that you were working from titles a good deal. And when you're working from titles, that again is a really nice exercise. Here's my you're writing from your destination. Here's my destination. All right, now, how do I get there? And we start talking about, here's the initial idea leading up to it. And then the next idea has to build on that and make the idea, your title, mean more the second time. And then if you're writing a third box, a third idea, your biggest idea will be your last idea. So that you're practicing building your verse development, building your movement through the ideas so that it gets more and more and more and more interesting each time you repeat your chorus, each time you repeat your title. So you're doing that. And so that should give you practice on all sorts of the tools, on line lengths, on rhyme schemes, on stable and unstable sequences. It should give you a lot of practice on that. But the bottom line, the real truth is that the best songs you will ever write come from the best ideas that you have. 90% of the ideas that you write are not your best 10%. And so you are keeping your engine running, and it sounds like running pretty full bore, in anticipation of great ideas. And so, you know, you might write a song called "Do Me Baby, Do Me Good, Do Me Like You Said You Would." Okay, there's a good 90%er, probably somewhere in the 20s or 30s. But you will write it, and it won't be one of the best songs that you will ever write. But you're going to write it because it's going to tone your muscles. It's going to give you a chance to experiment with melodic rhythm, with harmonic progressions. It's going to give you a chance to see what kind of rhyme schemes and rhyme types you can use. And, you know, just make sure that you're always listening to your songs, because they're trying to teach you how to write songs. And the best teachers you will ever have as a songwriter are the songs that you are writing and the songs that move you. You know, when I listen to it, when I hear a song and the song makes me feel something, the first thing I say is, "Thank you." And the second thing I say is, "How the fuck did you do that to me?"
I burst out laughing when I hear something that I love. I laugh, and when people have played me their songs, I'll burst out laughing, and they'll get mad at me, and I have to explain them. No, that's
that made me happy.
what happened. Yeah, thank you. I what you said your benediction is well received by me, because there's an ego and a fear that, well, this might be aiming towards pretty good, so I might as well stop working on it because I'm anxious and afraid that I'll go work with something else.
You know, because you're afraid,
Right,
that this song will actually display the basic mediocrity that you know you are.
yep.
The essential mediocrity that you know you are. And you certainly don't want anybody else to see how mediocre you really are, much less admit it to yourself.
Yeah.
So I'd rather go binge on Netflix than write this song, because
Excellent.
I know it won't be good enough.
Thank you. Thanks.
So you got to get over that.
Yep.
You know, it is quite true that most of what you do is sort of the average of what you can do. The best work that you do isn't something that happens all the time. So that you're right. Most of the time, you are dealing with a fairly mediocrity laden series of moves. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of information, a lot of tools to take that thing that's sort of just globbing there and make it into something that can move, and therefore can move other people. All right. What else?
Awesome. Tyler, you've had your hand up for a bit. You still have a question?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Pat. It's great to see you. Thanks for
Hey,
doing
Tyler,
this.
good to see you.
Yeah, love hearing all this songwriting talk, and I've been writing a lot lately, been listening to a lot of great writers. I really believe that you are what you listen to. And just was thinking of you the other day. I've been listening to a lot of Leonard Cohen, as particularly his Songs of Leonard Cohen album, the songs like Suzanne and Sisters of Mercy, and these songs that have these one lines, or these lines that really just give you these wow moments, and where everything, I think you touched on why in the last couple answers, but like verse building and you know, there's that internal rhyme, and because on the surface they're just like couplets and like basic poetry, but I'm wondering if you've studied his work or some of these other 70s songwriters, like which tools they were using that make those so pithy and those lines pop, that maybe aren't present in a lot of music that's around today.
She'll feed you tea and oranges that come all the way from China.
It's so good, and I have a similar reaction. I just laugh when I hear
Yeah.
these amazing lines. Like, how'd you do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly, and I mean, there's so much that's happening with Leonard Cohen that's amazing. One of the things, by the way, that's not happening with Leonard Cohen is soaring, amazing melodies. Um, uh, and because you know, the melody there has to stand back a little and give the ideas time to breathe. So, you know, there's an interesting balance. But one of the things that I think makes Leonard Cohen so effective, he uses a lot of words, and the rule of thumb for me is the more words you have, the bigger your sections should feel. I'll say that again. The more words you have, the bigger your sections should feel. So that if you are writing a song that goes ga da dee da 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 dee da, like ga da dee da 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 cry, da da dee da 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 die, da da dee da 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 feel, da da dee da 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 steal, da da dee da 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 fall, da da dee da 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 wall. You now have a song moving in an unrelenting march of couplets, and your sequences are only 2 lines long. That's if you have a lot of words and you're working in consecutive rhymes, line by line, you are going to tell me to stop at the end of every 2 lines, and it's a formula for making the song feel too long. Leonard Cohen, in a lot of his work, is creating sequences that are typically something like 6 lines long. So he'll go but da 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 fall, but da 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 wall, but da 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 scream, but da 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 cry, but da 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 die, but da 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 seam. So that he'll do a 4 stress line couplet and then a long 5 stress line that doesn't rhyme, and that's going to be waving its arms asking for a friend. So he'll now give you 2 more rhyming lines and then another 5 stress line that will give you the 6 line sequence. He'll also do that with ABC, ABC, but da 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 to cry, but da da to fall, but da 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 to swim, but da 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 to die, but da da to crawl, but da 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 to win. So again, 6 line sequences like that. If you want to take a look at an analysis of how he does it and how he actually stretches out sequences, take a look at my chapter in Writing Better Lyrics called Managing Couplets. And I do an analysis of his song Closing Time and how he uses its structure to create larger units and therefore to keep our interest and keep us moving all the way through a whole bunch of words.
That's awesome. Thank you, Pat.
Sure.
Awesome. I think we probably have time for maybe 2 more questions, but Sam, I know your hand's been up for a while. Do you still have another question?
Yeah. Hi, Pat. Thanks again so much for doing this. It's
Pleasure.
yeah, it's really cool to be here. Yeah, so I'm in the camp of people who have never really finished a song, where I've written a lot of complete songs that I can never seem to really like, you know, Like,
I'm sorry, that you can never like, did you say?
yeah, yeah. Well, I've written a lot of what seem like complete songs. I've written a lot of last lines and can never really bring myself to say, okay, the song is finished. And so I know Da Vinci once said, like, great art is never finished, only abandoned. I was wondering, when do you know when a song is finished?
Well, I know that a song is finished when it's as good as I can make it, when I've tried everything that I can think of. And this is as good as I can make you. I've really tried, and I have a lot of tools at my disposal, and I've really, really tried to make you better than you are. And that's just as good as you're going to get. So I'm now going to go write another song. Thank you for the lesson, because I pushed against you as hard as I could. It's like pushing against a wall, trying to move a wall. You can push as hard as you want to, but you're not going to move the wall. But if you push as hard as you can, what happens is that you get stronger. You get stronger. So that if you're really working on it, and you can say to yourself, this is as good as I can make this song. And it may be because the idea itself wasn't very good, or couldn't move further. And that will also give you information on the next time you pick an idea. You might now take a look down the alleyway to see how far you think that idea can go. So that that's one thing. The other thing is, you have to be selective on how you start writing a song. And there's always the adventure mode, where you write a line and say, oh, let's see where this goes. And then you write the next line, and then you write the next line. At some point you say, maybe I need a chorus. And then you try to think of a chorus, and those are the kinds of songs that generally end up being unfinished, or being, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's not about me. It's about my audience. They'll see in this song whatever it is that they see, because it really doesn't belong to me at all. So I don't have to know what I'm talking about, because they'll see what they want anyway. I'm just channeling through the cosmos. So that again isn't isn't a healthy approach, or an effective approach. That's why starting from an idea, starting from a title, starting from a concept is probably the single most efficient way to write a song. And by the way, the best way to test an idea to see where it can go. So I recommend that you be very careful in where you start, but also, how big is your tool belt? How much do you have there? How much practice have you done in manipulating line lengths, in phrasing? How do you recognize, or are you aware of where you are starting your phrases relative to the downbeats of the bar? Because if you are starting right on the downbeat of the bar, it's going to feel like you mean it, like you're positive about it. If you start behind the downbeat of the bar, it's going to feel what I call unstable. And that kind of phrasing is going to carry a kind of body language that's going to make the idea feel a little bit more, as opposed to, those are technical terms. So what is in your toolkit? And whatever it is that's in your toolkit is going to determine how well you can take this thing that you've written and work on it, so that what I would say to you, Sam, that that maybe one of the things that you might set your cap on is building your tool set, putting on your white smock and becoming a mad scientist for a while, and dealing with number of lines, length of lines, rhythm of lines, rhyme scheme, rhyme types, stable and unstable tones. How are you with the modes? And how are you with the DAW? Do you use Logic? You know, there's so many tools that that you can use and that you can practice with. And each song that you have gives you the opportunity to practice. And while we're at it, I just mentioned DAWs and Logic. I have a former student named Rachel Loy, L-O-Y, Rachel Loy, who is in Nashville and has been very, very successful, or very successful anyway. She has a channel on YouTube called How to Make a Song. How to Make a Song. Rachel Loy, How to Make a Song. And what she does is she just turns on her video camera and writes a song from beginning to end, producing it in Logic, and has her DAW up on the screen sharing for the whole time. I watched one a couple of weekends ago. It was 4 hours and 46 minutes long. The session was 4 hours and 46 minutes long. And although I didn't have 4 hours and 46 minutes all in one chunk, I found it compelling. And the minute when I had to stop, the minute that I could pick it up again, I did, and watched it all the way from the false start, where she was starting with something that she didn't know what it was, and then said, oh, maybe it's this, and then started working on it. She has several of those up, and I think that especially if you're working in a DAW, whether it's Pro Tools, even GarageBand, or Logic, I think it'll be very useful for you. So again, it's Rachel Loy on YouTube, How to Make a Song. She's got her own channel. You might find that useful. Let's take one more question.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Ikashita, I think you've had your hand up for a while as well. I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but do you still have a question?
Yeah. Hi, Pat. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, pleasure.
I have a question that was related to someone else's question who just said something about writing poetry, and you mentioned that we're not poets, we're not composers, we're songwriters. I actually started out as a poet, and I didn't really start songwriting till I was about 19. I didn't start singing till I was 19 either. So I feel like I was conditioned to write in a certain way that I'm unable to change now. But now I get work for songwriting, and I'm not able to discard like my old style of like, it just seems really complex and clunky, and I don't always want that in my songs. But as soon as I try to emulate something that I'm listening to on the charts, it starts to feel inauthentic, or it feels like, you know, I'm just copy pasting ideas and it's not coming from me. I'm trying to sort of conform to what I'm listening to. How would you reconcile with being put in a situation like that and trying to see what your style is and still trying to make it work as you write songs for like pop audiences?
Well, at Berklee, I not only teach lyric writing, but I've had a death grip on the poetry classes there for the last 40 years. So I feel qualified to speak on this. There's well, in writing your poetry, what that is typically doing is letting you discover your writing voice, and certainly poetry has its own has its own toolbox. You know, the basic toolbox that poetry has that you don't get as a songwriter is that in poetry there is a dance between phrase length and line length, a dance between phrases and lines. So that in poetry, just because a line ends doesn't necessarily mean that the phrase has ended. And that's in poetry, poetic terms, that's called an enjambment. You don't get to do that as a songwriter. At the end of a musical phrase is the end of the lyric phrase, unless you do. No, I'm just going to say that categorically. There are exceptions, but they're not worth going into at the moment. So there is that. The other thing, of course, that you have that you do as a poet is that you start with an idea and you write and write to the end of the poem. And at the end of the poem, there's this nice little bow that you tie up, your sort of little punchline, or the thing that makes me go, so that's your target. As a songwriter, you've got to hit your target 3 times. And not just once, you've got to hit it 3 times. So that one of the things that that you do as a songwriter that you don't do as a poet is repeat a chunk of the same words every time. And if you're going to do that, then you've got to remember that if I have heard it before, hearing it again is going to bore me, unless hearing it again makes it brand new, makes it mean more. And so the whole notion of verse development, moving toward the target and then hitting the target and then beginning again, hitting the target a second time in a more profound way, and then maybe hitting it even a third time in the most profound way. So that your strategy as a poet is basically writing a verse and a chorus. Your strategy as a songwriter is writing a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, or verse, refrain, bridge, verse, refrain, whatever it is. But repetition is something that you didn't do as a poet, but you must do as a songwriter. Plus, of course, there's going to be music involved. So, is that useful?
Yeah, it really is, because now I think I know how to approach it. Like maybe I'll think about just the verse chorus part and then think about how can I approach this idea again. But then I'm wondering if, am I in the wrong field? Like, should I even be pursuing pop writing at all if it feels inauthentic to me to do that several times? Like sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it happens naturally, but most of the time it feels like I'm pushing and I'm trying to make something happen that is not what I want to do.
Well, I mean, just take a lesson from Troy Richardson, who's here tonight. He's a guitar player. Is that right, Troy? A guitar player? Is that what you do?
I graduated as a bass player. I do play guitar though.
Okay. Well, I can do that. I mean, bass isn't as hard, of course, because it's only 4 strings and 1 note at a time. I mean, how hard can it be? But Troy started learning bass because he was he was really taken with Paul McCartney's bass lines. And so he played McCartney's bass lines along with the records for quite some time. Just tried to figure it out. What's he doing? And then he'd get it under his fingers and he could play it. So when he was playing with his band, he was playing kind of McCartney's licks. They weren't his. They were McCartney's licks. But at one point he also started listening to Jocko, and he said, "Holy shit, what's going on here?" And he started taking that stuff on. And so now with his band, he's got kind of a combination of McCartney and Jocko happening. And then he started listening to Sting, and so there's all these bass players he's listening to, and he's copying their notes all the time, copying their licks. And after a little while, what happens is all of that stuff becomes kind of a hybrid of all of those things. And you can now only, when you listen to his bass playing, you can only talk about perhaps his influences, but he's got his own voice because he's picked and choose out of what he's been hearing to the things that make him feel something. And when it makes him feel something, then he knows that it's coming from him. So I would say, pick a pop song that you like, one that you really like, and write a lyric to the melody and the changes. Write a lyric to it. Come up with a nice little hook that matches the melody precisely, your own little hook, and write out the whole song so that you've got your lyrics to Beyonce's melody and harmony. Okay, then you take that lyric and you write a new melody to it, and then you write changes to that. And so you no longer have Beyonce's song, you now have a song that duplicates the structure of Beyonce's song, but has different melody, different harmony, and you may even change the feel. Now, that may not be the authentic you, but what it is, it's teaching you how to move through a pop world, something in terms of rhythm, in terms of how the ideas, how the sections move, how the harmony and the melody move. It's teaching you all of that stuff. And so then you try it again, and then you try it again. I did not ask you to be a songwriter. It's hard. It takes practice. And if you want to do it, get ready for the long haul, because when you do it and do it well, it becomes a lifelong search. This is your time to be practicing, because you've got another 40 years to go or 60 years to go. And so, gird yourself for battle. You are not going to be famous next week or maybe next year. You may never be famous, but what you will be is a better writer. And that's, I think, enough just to be a better writer. Okay.
Thank you so much, Pat. That was
Oh, let me say, by the way, that I do have an article called "The Difference Between Lyrics and Poetry." It's published in a book called The Poetics of American Song Lyrics. It's from the University of Mississippi Press. I've got a chapter in that book. It's a good book. The Poetics of American Song Lyrics. And the same article also appeared in
I have a link here on JSTOR.
Great. Okay. Yeah, put it. That'd be great.
Great. Thank you so much, Pat. That was so helpful.
Okay. So are we ready to start listening to some songs?
Let's do it. So like I said earlier, there was an email that went out from Eventbrite that included a link to a Google Doc, but I will post the same link and the file into the chat now. So that way, if you all want to follow along for the lyrics on there and everything else. Up first, I believe we have Miss Geralyn Sawyer. Geralyn, are you ready to go?
Sure. Oh my goodness, you guys. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much.
Ooh, so much. My goodness. Do I just dive right in?
Yeah. So Geralyn, you're going to you're going to sing this a cappella. Is that correct?
I am. I'm taking piano lessons from Mr. Shane Adams, but I have not learned this yet. So, 'cause it's
Okay.
new. So yeah, I hope you guys can hear through it. All right. When the year's been bleak, to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees, the night air spills into the days, and the whole world turns a shade of gray. Just remember, Christmas is a state of mind. You can go there anytime. Just close your eyes and let the warmth surround you. Familiar faces filled with smiles, laughter heard through all the miles. Close your eyes and take a look inside, 'cause Christmas is a state of mind. If we can't be wrapped up side by side in a horse-drawn carriage sleighing ride, no hanging up the turtle doves or mistletoe strung from above. Just remember, Christmas is a state of mind. You can go there anytime. Just close your eyes and let the warmth surround you. Familiar faces filled with smiles, laughter heard through all the miles. Close your eyes and take a look inside. 'Cause Christmas is a state of mind.
I just love what you just did to us.
I hope so. Thank you.
You know, because it's what we were talking about before. Leaves are tumbling from the trees. Night air spills into the days. Whole world turns a shade of gray. I've got it's dark out here now, but if it wasn't, I would show you the trees in my yard. And leaves tumbling from the trees gave me both the gold of the maples when they were here, and right now I've got this massive oak tree out there that's dropped about maybe a third of its leaves, also a shitload of acorns. And so when we're shushing through the leaves, it's kind of a shush and roll. And that's where I was with leaves tumbling from the trees. But I bet you that that Caitlin and Bruce and Tony and Danielle all were in different places with different trees, but they all were there. Let the warmth surround you, laughter heard, close your eyes, wrapped up horse-drawn carriage, hey, turtle doves, mistletoe strung, you know, all of that stuff is so stimulating that it made me feel really warm. It made me feel safe. It made me feel nostalgic because it made me think of my Christmases, just like it made everybody else think of their Christmases. So that's the power of sense-bound language, which I think is which I think is really, really wonderful. And so thank you for that feeling that you've given all of us. So in terms of your general journey through this song, Bucko, when things are not quite what you want, just remember, Christmas is a state of mind. Bucko, if things can't be like you want them to be, just remember, Christmas is a state of mind. So that it feels to me like your wonderful second verse really is your first verse in different words.
Mhm.
That is when things aren't to your liking, if things aren't to your liking, so that the motion that sort of if not, then remember, feels like it makes your second chorus mean exactly the same thing that your first chorus meant.
Okay.
In writing better lyrics, my book Writing Better Lyrics, which by the way, on September 18th, I celebrated the 25th year since the publication of Writing Better Lyrics, and it's still either on top or close to the top of the Amazon charts in songwriting. It's usually number one. My publisher is very happy to say that, as am I. But in that fabulous book, Writing Better Lyrics by Pat Pattison, chapter, I think chapter 7, maybe 6 or 7, is called Perspectives. Now, is called verse development. So in that, I talk about the boxes, how the boxes move, creating a journey through your ideas. I've been asking my students recently to get tattoos. And by the way, I did that before. Huey Stone Fish, who was a graduate from several years ago, just won an Emmy. And he, when he moved to LA, he sent me a picture of his tattoos. On one forearm, he had stable, and the other one he had unstable. And he still has those. And he won an Emmy. Come on. So if I'm telling you to get a tattoo, you should get a tattoo. The tattoo that I want you to get is only on one arm. And it's 5 words. It's what would I say now? What would I say now? And you can look at it because it's on the inside. This is very practical advice. So just close your eyes and take a look inside. Just close your eyes and take a look inside. Christmas is just a state of mind. If I close my eyes and take a look inside, what will I see? Well,
Smart.
and her laughter heard through all the miles. Close your eyes and take a look inside. Christmas is just a state of mind. Little tag here. Okay. So would you please sing it down from the top with those changes?
I will. From the very top?
Very top.
Okay. When the year's been bleak to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees, the night air spills into the days, and the whole world turns a shade of gray. Just remember, Christmas is a state of mind. You can go there anytime. Just close your eyes and let the warmth surround you. Familiar faces filled with smiles, laughter heard through all the miles. Close your eyes and take a look inside, 'cause Christmas is a state of mind. Where we'll be wrapped up side by side in a horse-drawn carriage sleighing ride, hanging up the turtle doves and mistletoe strung from above. Because Christmas is a state of mind. You can go there anytime. Just close your eyes and let the warmth surround you. Familiar faces filled with smiles, laughter heard through all the miles. Close your eyes and take a look inside, 'cause Christmas is a state of mind.
So what happened to you in that second chorus?
I was transported. I felt more impact is the easiest way to say it. And what was there? 3 words? I mean, that's crazy.
Well, I omitted a couple of words.
Yeah, no, that was that felt different.
What would I say now or next? So in terms of building your boxes, which this verse is responsible. Verse 2 is responsible for making this mean more. And now suddenly, Christmas is a state of mind where we'll be wrapped, right? So don't say it, sing it. We'll be wrapped up side by side. And there we are, all of this gorgeous stuff that's happening in the mind. And mistletoe strung from above, because Christmas is a state of mind. And so look where we'll be when the year is bleak. Just close your eyes and look inside and see us like that.
Oh.
So 50%.
Got it. Noted.
Word for a third, I don't know, that's 3 words, come on. All right, so that's the first thing. And note, by the way, that in approaching thinking about this song, that the first thing I did was something that had to do with the whole song, with how the whole song moved. I didn't go in and say, gee, I don't know if I'd use the word faces here. I didn't get really specific, because if the entire song isn't doing its job, because this is a lyric driven song, its job is to make me see something because of the words that you're using. And that's not every song's job. Some songs have the job of making me listen to the singer. Ella, man, I love listening to her sing. Some songs really they only want to make you move your body. I don't think that "Who Let the Dogs Out" is a lyric driven song, but I think it's really effective. But this is lyric driven. So how you make it move is a big deal. What it does in its second box, what it does to this chorus is crucial, because the last thing I want is to hear this saying, yeah, as I said before. So this, what would I say next? That is, put me inside the head, now does that. But anyway, so I started with something big. Okay. The structure here, I was talking about Leonard Cohen's structure before. Got that dee da 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 da. Christmas is a state of mind. You can go there anytime. Close your eyes and let the warmth surround you. 4, 4, 5. So you have this long line here. And now surround you, so the word surround is going to be waving its arms, saying, rhyme me, rhyme me, rhyme me. And so familiar faces filled with smiles, laughter heard through all the miles. There we go again, you got mind in any time. But now close your eyes and take a look inside. Close your eyes and take a look inside. There's your 5 stress line, but it's got nothing to do with surround. That's not a criticism. That it's got nothing to do with surround. I was expecting surround to be rhymed. It wasn't. Oh my God. And now you, after you've got my attention and I'm saying, wait, what? You say, Christmas is a state of mind. So I call this a deceptive cadence, which I think is really effective here. A nice little tool. However, poor surround. You've created a sonic orphan. I don't know what to do with surround. So, you might throw surround a bone. Sing the chorus.
Christmas is a state of mind. You can go there anytime. Just close your eyes and let the warmth surround you. Familiar faces filled with smiles. Laughter sounds through all the miles. Close your eyes and take a look inside. Christmas is a state of mind.
And so Mother Teresa does not have to come and rescue surround, because we've given surround a home, a sonic home to live.
Beautiful.
So I love the deceptive cadence. And by the way, if you did not think of that as a deceptive cadence and said, I understand, you'd say it sort of in a German accent. I understand. That's not German, sorry. I understand. That's not either. I'm not going to try anymore. But I understand. So surround needs something. They will expect surround, but I will not give it to them. I will do smiles, mild side, mind, and it will fool them and the big spotlights will come on and I will be very effective songwriter, me. So if you did not say that to yourself, you can next time, because this is a tool. I've got some paradigms and rhyme schemes, and they're very simple paradigms, but one of them is the deceptive cadence. It goes run, fall, sun, one. So the thing that's asking to be rhymed doesn't get rhymed, but you can still use that sound someplace else. Anyway, so this might be useful just in terms of tying the thing up and making this an even bigger surprise. Okay. All right. Sing verse 1.
Fabulous. When the year's been bleak to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
Okay, stop right
the
there.
night air spilled.
Say this line to me. Don't sing it, say it.
And the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
Again.
And the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
No, don't read it. Don't declaim it, just say it. What are the leaves doing, Geralyn?
And the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
Yeah, the leaves are tumbling from the trees. The leaves are tumbling from the trees. The leaves are tumbling from the trees. from the trees, from the trees, from the trees. Sing the line the way you're singing it.
The way I'm saying it.
The way you're saying, sing the line the way you wrote it.
Okay. And the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
So you've got leaves are tumbling from the trees. And so there's from saying, hi, I'm from, I'm in a, I'm in a spotlit position. I'm in a stressed position in the bar. Look at me because I'm a preposition, and we prepositions work really hard. We should get some attention too. But that's not how we say it. And one of our jobs as songwriters, is to preserve the natural shape of the language. I'll say that again, to preserve the natural shape of the language. Say that with me, please. Preserve the natural shape of the language. One more time, to preserve the natural shape of the language. So sing that again and sing it right.
I'm like, oh man, what is that? And the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
There we go, that's better. Do it again.
And the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
Okay, the first two lines now.
When the year's been bleak, to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
Okay, so the principle here is a very simple one. Let's see if I can do this. There's a book. There's a book. There's a book. Now, it's probably fair to say that, you know, basically, each of these books is getting about a third of your attention. Each of these books is getting about a third of your attention. If I take one away, now each one of these books is getting about half your attention. So that by taking one of them away, each one of these books gains 17.5% more interest, more of your focus. It, in a way, it seems like maybe this book or one of these books, say this book is from, and what it's now doing is it's stealing spotlight from trees and leaves. But now if I take from away, now the other, in this case, three, the other three words that mean something are much more in focus. So sing those first two lines again.
When the year's been bleak, to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
Okay, now sing them the sucky way.
When the year's been bleak, to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees.
Now the good way.
When the year's been bleak, to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees. And the night air, again, or continue on?
Oh, continue on.
Okay, and the night air spills into the days. The whole world
Yeah,
burns.
stop there. And the night air, sing that line again.
The night air spills into the days.
Okay, so two things about that. Number one, the word into is probably the single most misset word in songs, because it's a preposition that generally follows a verb. And because we're generally in 4/4 time, gata, 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 the night air spills into the trees. So that, but I've never said to anybody, hey, would you come into my room? would you come into my room? No, I would say, will you come into my room? So, and the night air spills rest into the days. Try that and watch how the night air is going to spill.
The night air spills into the day.
No, into the days.
The
The
night
night air spills rest into the days.
days. The night air spills into the days.
Yeah, sing it.
Night air spills into the days.
Say ta into the days.
The night air spills into the days.
Now say two.
The night air spills into the
No,
days.
into the days.
Into the days. So I want to put enunciation on the in. Okay.
Yes, you do.
Night air spills into the days.
Into the days.
Into
Ga-da-da.
the night air spills into the days.
And not so much on in.
The night air spills into the days.
There! From the top.
80th time, the charm. Let's see if it'll happen. When the year's been bleak, to say the least, and the leaves are tumbling from the trees, the night air spills into the days. And the whole world turns a shade of gray.
Just remember.
Just remember.
Yeah. And mistletoe strung from above is another another issue there. And so hanging up the turtle doves and mistletoe strung. Note by the way that we've got another another verb, and mistletoe strung from above. Strung from above. So if you and this. You know, this doesn't seem like a big deal, except it really is, because we really can see the leaves are tumbling from the trees and the night air spills into the day. We really see it when it's properly set. And I will say this categorically, even the smallest missetting, and even the smallest missetting, if you misset something even a little, it will no longer mean what you intended to say. The leaves are tumbling from the trees does not mean the leaves are tumbling from the trees. And the night air spills into the day does not mean the night air spills into the day. So that even a small missetting is going to cause the lyric to refuse to say what you meant it to say. So preserve the natural shape of the language. We do not want the revolution of the prepositions. And that also goes for the other grammatical functions too. So.
Fabulous.
Excellent work, Geralyn.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being a safe space. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. That was wonderful, Geralyn. Thank you. Up next, I believe we have Troy. Are you ready to roll?
I hope you're not playing bass, Troy.
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, is this just me, huh? Do my thing?
Just you.
All right. Way off in future days, my short-term memory will start to fade. I'll get big and you'll get small, and I won't have much hair at all, but you'll love me irregardlessly. Yeah, you love me irregardlessly. Made it through days long past, and all our friends said it wouldn't last. I forget you were with another, and it won't be easy 'cause he's still my brother, but I love you irregardlessly. Yeah, I love you irregardlessly. Irregardlessly, I love you. And I know you love me too. Irregardlessly, we'll make it through this life. Irregardlessly. Bills are big and pay is small. We got rotten kids who never call. So many times with too much wine that I doubt these kids are even mine. But I love them irregardlessly. Yeah, I love them irregardlessly. Irregardlessly, I love you. And I know you love me too. Irregardlessly, we'll make it through this life. Irregardlessly.
Irregardlessly is a great word. So again, there's I'll get big and you'll get small. Won't have much hair at all. This is really fun, and your tongue is firmly planted in your cheek on this song. It's a cheeky song. Rotten kids. Doubt that the kids are even mine. So I think that the song has the aroma of a lot of fun, and I think that's great. And I also understand that strategically what you are trying to do with You'll Love Me, I Love You, I'll Love Them, is to sort of give me that new color or that different slant on each one of the refrains or each one of the choruses. But I actually don't think that you have to. I think that but I love you or I'll love you will work just fine. And even though I've gotten big and you've gotten small, I'll still love you. And even though you were with another, even though he's my brother, I will love you irregardlessly. I doubt that these kids are even mine, but I love you irregardlessly. So it becomes a really fun love song that's really not, I think, splaying its meaning. I mean, this turns out to be a really fun love song, as opposed to a statement about the various things I'm going to love. So I think your verses are working hard enough that you can keep your refrain and certainly your chorus consistent all the way through. because your verses are doing enough work in moving the idea forward that you don't need to start changing your refrain. One of the questions that I have here is whether or not these verses are in the right order. Was that something that you were concerned about or you thought about?
I definitely did think about it. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I decided on after I thought about it.
I wonder, just humor me and try that, and move into the chorus here.
Oh, can you share your screen? I don't see it.
Oh, sorry. There I was working deciduously, thinking, they must see what I'm doing. Oh. There we go. So I've taken verse 3 and made it verse 2.
Okay.
So see if that works.
Way off in future days, my short-term memory will start to fade. I'll get big and you'll get small, and I won't have much hair at all. But I love you, irregardlessly. Yeah, I love you, irregardlessly. Bills are big and pay is small. We got rotten kids who'll never call. So many times with too much wine that I doubt these kids are even mine. But I love you, irregardlessly. Yeah, I love you, irregardlessly. Keep going.
Yep.
Irregardlessly, I love you, and I know you love me too. Irregardlessly, we'll make it through this life. Irregardlessly. Made it through days long past, and all our friends said it wouldn't last. I forget you were with another, and it won't be easy 'cause you're still my brother. But I love you, irregardlessly. Yeah, I love you, irregardlessly.
I don't know if that works better, but it feels like, I mean, this is a pretty hefty punchline here, and I think that this is even heftier. And maybe this is future tense. We'll make it through the days long past, even though our friends say it wouldn't last. And I'll forget you were with another, even though he's still my brother. I will love you irregardlessly. So try that out and see how that feels for you. I want you to try one other thing here. I've changed this now from an A-A-B-B rhyme scheme into an A-B-B-A rhyme scheme. And I want you to sing it that way. And I want to see how it moves into your refrain.
Okay. Way off in future days, I'll get big and you'll get small, and hold on. Way off in future days, I'll get big and you'll get small, and I won't
have much hair
at all. But
a short-term memory will start to way off in future days. I'll get big and you'll get small, and I won't have much hair at all. My short-term memory starts to fade. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
Way off in future days, I'll get big and you'll get small, and I won't have much hair at all. My short-term memory will start to fade, but I love you irregardlessly. Yeah, I love you irregardlessly.
What's throwing you off there? Is it the chords?
It's the time with the chords.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I hear is, way off in future days, I'll get big and you'll get small, and I won't have much hair at all. My short-term memory will start to fade, but I love you irregardlessly. So that the A, B, B, A rhyme scheme, because it's unstable and doesn't stop us, creates a whole verse of motion rather than A stop, B stop, so that the open rhyme scheme, the ABBA rhyme scheme, is going to move us through it a little faster, a little with a little more authority. Sing your chorus or your refrain.
But I love you irregardlessly. Yeah, I love you irregardlessly.
I had a friend in high school who didn't care about anybody. His name was Lee Atwater. He didn't care about anybody, and so we called him Irregardless Lee. And in terms of preserving the natural shape of the garden, I love you irregardlessly, 2, 3, 4. So you've got the Lee happening right on the downbeat. Irregard, and so you've got guard, the primary stress syllable, on the third beat of the bar. And then you've got Lee hanging out in that downbeat with all the spotlights on it. A couple of ways to deal with that. This is a matter of a secondary stress being put in a stronger position than a primary stress. So I will love you irregardlessly. I'll love you irregardlessly. So I passed the downbeat. I love you irregardlessly. Or I will love you irregardlessly. And so either get the Lee out before the downbeat or past the downbeat, which I think is the stronger move, and just toss Lee away. You're not rhyming it with anything.
Right.
And in this sequence here, we'll make it through the night. Really, those things do have to go together. Can you just do it that way? I know you love me too, irregardlessly. We'll make it through this life irregardlessly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to get that in that phrase.
Just keep talking. We'll make it through this life. Just give it a shot.
Okay. Irregardlessly, I love you, and I know you love me too. Irregardlessly, we'll make it through this life. Irregardlessly, just power through.
Power through works just fine, and just play with that for a little bit.
Mhm.
So the takeaways that I want you to think about here. Number one, the mantra that I have is, just because you write a verse first doesn't mean it's your first verse. So that be aware of your ability to juggle and say, wait, what would happen if? And in that case, what if we get the bills first, and then we move on into our yeah, okay. There we go. One more. There. So that's the first thing. Secondly, your rhyme scheme is going to control the motion of your song. And your couplets are stopping me every 2 lines. And I just thought I'd experiment with one of 2 techniques here. Moving into an ABBA, but it's also possible to unrhyme your first couplet. Way off in a future time, my short-term memory will start to fade. It'll get big, you'll get small, and I won't have much hair at all. Now you get a nice little surprise by unrhyming. Bills are big and pay is small. We've got rotten kids who never write. So many times with too much wine, I doubt these kids are even mine. So now you've got a bigger unit to deal with, either by unrhyming your first couplet or by creating either an ABAB rhyme scheme or an ABBA rhyme scheme. I like the ABBA because it moves really smoothly into your refrain. And thirdly, again, preserving the natural shape of the language, so that your hook doesn't remind you of any of your high school friends. So nice work, Troy.
Thank you.
So that's basically what I've got, and it looks like time is almost up. I just want to say, thank you so much to Callan for asking me and for putting this together, and Joe, thank you so much for assisting in this thing, and for all of you who put songs in. I wrote you an email and said, hey, it's about teachable moments. It's not about the winning song is. When you put yourself on the line like you did, it'll do nothing but great things for you as a songwriter, because that's what we're doing every time we write. We're putting ourselves on the line, if not to other people, to us. Saying, I'm not afraid of my own mediocrity. I know that it's a thing, but I'm committed to writing as well as I can. I don't care if I write as well as anybody else. I want to write as well as I can, because if I do that, then I will have a chance to express who I am more effectively. And I will have a happier and better life. And if I write a lot, I won't need therapy. So, anything final anybody wants to ask or say, or Callan, what do you got?
Sure. Well, just a huge thank you to you, Pat, for taking the time to do this. I learned so much, so this was wonderful. And then huge shout out to Geralyn and Troy as well for willing to get up and kind of sing in front of everyone. And just to echo what Pat said, thank you so much to everybody who submitted songs. It was awesome to kind of look through and hear everything. And I mean, I personally really appreciate it, but yeah, like Pat said, definitely just putting yourself out there in general is always huge. So thank you for doing that. But I think that's about it. Thank you again, everybody, for joining, and a huge thanks to Pat for running this. Thanks so much, everyone.